Sequence start. 10, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3.
So who I have with me is Jordan Keys from the YouTube series This Week in Linux, and does a lot of Linux tutorials. I noticed you quite a while ago. It was a few years ago, I guess, actually, when I started looking at your videos, because I was interested in seeing who all does stuff like I do. And there's a lot of amazing YouTubers out there. So I figured during my live shows, at least, I would feature some of them, Jordan in particular, because they're just as good as anything that I do. And there's no reason why there shouldn't be people out there knowing who they are, because a lot of times, as far as the knowledge goes, they know more about a lot of this stuff than I do. So instead of directing your questions at me, direct your questions at Jordan is essentially what I'm trying to say. What I decided would be good, and you guys can scold me on this if you want, I'm definitely open to suggestions, is just to talk about interesting tech stuff, the types of questions that you guys ask me that you guys have asked me over the weeks, as far as tech news and my opinion on different things. And so one of the things that I wanted to talk about, and I actually got asked this earlier today in chat, is the topic of mega upload. And you guys in chat can chime in as well. But I just thought that was a very interesting topic, given the whole SOPA and PIPA and what's it called, ACTA thing that is...
That's the European version, right?
The European version, yeah, I believe so. Yeah, ACTA. Thanks, Salazar. But I just wanted to get your take on this whole thing, Jordan. If you have a take on it at all, I'd be very interested to hear.
My take on it, and this is my take on just the SOPA, PIPA, all of that in general, is you're letting, in general, 60 to 65-year-old men run something that they probably never use themselves, for the most part. There's a lot of... I'm from the state of Kentucky, in case you don't know, and the Kentucky state senators, I can guarantee you, the U.S. senators, don't have a clue about most internet-related activities. Rand Paul is one of the first that actually stepped up against it after the blackout on the 18th, and it's nice to see that one of the Kentucky senators actually stepped up and said, yes, I will stand against it, but it's kind of sad that it took the blackout day to actually make it happen.
So what
Rand Paul, not Ron Paul. Sorry.
Rand Paul, Ron Paul, they're all politicians, right?
Yeah.
At least you didn't say RuPaul. That would be something to completely different.
The way things are going, I wouldn't be surprised to see a RuPaul as a senator someday.
Or RuPaul for president. You heard it here first, guys. RuPaul for president 2012. Mm-hmm. So what do you think about the whole mega upload thing, considering that we just got through SOPA, just got through PIPA, and it's kind of been squashed for now. But then, given what the movie companies and music companies are wanting to do, the government just did that.
That's what's really odd.
They did it in Hong Kong, and I thought that was really weird.
Well, I think they did it in Hong Kong because there were U.S. servers. If I read there correctly, that they did have servers on U.S. soil that gave them some sort of jurisdiction over at least a portion of the site. But it is a little bit odd that they were able to do it. I guess from what I've read, they were building up evidence against them for a while, and it seemed a little bit coincidental that it happened at the time frame it did. Because if they had all this evidence, you'd think they would have done it before, or if they were waiting for something, they would have done it a little later. But yeah, like someone in the chat said, you won't stop piracy. If you take one site down, 1,000 more are going to show back up.
Precisely, and there's been a lot of response from the other file sharing services as well, such as FileSonic. They shut down their servers, but some of the other ones I can't remember the name of it, but one of them just blocked U.S. sites or people from the U.S. from accessing their file sharing service, which I think more and more people are going to do. If it's a U.S. problem for that this whole piracy thing is about, then the piracy is going to continue. They're just going to block the U.S. from accessing it. And what are the people in the U.S. going to do? We're going to fire up some VPNs and just and access it anyway. So it's not really stopping anything.
There are already sites that are blocked in the U.S., and there are people in the U.S. who get to them. So yeah,
Exactly.
unless you come up with some new way to block them that we haven't figured a way around yet, people will find a way.
So, did you get a chance to read up on Kim.com, the guy that's involved with Mega Upload?
Yeah,
And
your link to things to know about him, that was entertaining. That's something you would probably want to share.
Yeah, so I popped the website up right in front of you, my apologies. But these are just pictures of Kim.com and who he is, if you guys aren't familiar with him. I heard that he legally had his name changed to Kim.com, which tells you a little bit about him. But this is him with his private helicopter and his private jet. He likes bubbles and balloons. He likes bubbles a lot. And he sits in the hot tub with all of his clothes on. His friends are all models. And this is his mansion. And this was interesting. I don't know if you're looking at it right now, Jordan, but the picture of the aerial view of his mansion, if you look at it, you'll notice that there's one entrance that goes straight to the house, but then there's another entrance that leads into a garden maze. And somebody on Reddit was saying that the entrance that goes straight there are for premium users, but if you didn't pay the premium service, then you have to go through the maze. You can't get direct access, just like his site. But I thought that was interesting.
Well, just looking at some of the statistics on the kind of money that he's made from the site, it's kind of amazing that somebody hasn't jumped on him earlier, at least.
Yeah, I know. Yeah, and I find it convenient that they picked him, because he would, of all people that you would want to pin piracy on, it would be he's like the stereotypical fall guy. He's perfect as far as the lavish way he lives. He owns guns and he's like a playboy, and it would be perfect to use him to say, look, this is a pirate. This is what pirates do. They steal stuff from us, the music media companies, and this is what they do with it. They run off to other countries and they just live lavishly, and I think it's convenient. Yeah.
Well, and actually, one of the articles I read recently, in the same sort of vein, makes it kind of amusing that the music industry and the industries in general are the ones fighting so hard for this, when the people actually creating the content, like the bands and the artists, are being compensated so little for the actual works. They're getting compensated primarily for the concerts and the merchandising they do. But it was something about Courtney Love did an expose back in 2000 on how little they actually make, and it's like on a record that sells 1 million copies, they make nothing. Lyle Lovett had said, "I sold 4 million records, and I've made not a single penny off of one of them."
Yeah.
Where's the money going? Oh wait.
Yeah, the most of the money goes to the producing company, the company that actually produces the music. So, and they're doing fine. They're not being hurt in the slightest bit by this. There's no proof that piracy actually is hurting the music or movie companies.
Well, and actually, in some cases, it might be helping, because there are a lot of times a person will pirate something that they want, and then if they really like it, they'll end up paying for it. I know in the past I've known people that have pirated an album and liked it so much that they bought the album for the artist, and then several more. So in many ways, it can be kind of a viral way to get your stuff out there and make yourself a lot of money. But the industries don't see it that way.
Yeah,
it is a double-edged sword.
See it that way. Yeah, but
Because for every person that is actually going to pay money for something like this, there's going to be a lot of people that will just take it and take it and take it and never give anything back.
The way that the internet is... No, you're fine. I love the commentary. The way that the internet is trending, at least how I see it, is that the tide is shifting from these record producers, from the movie producers, to the individuals, and the individuals that understand how this works. The This Week in Linux or Tinkernuts of YouTube that understand how the video works, how it's trending. We do it ourselves. We don't rely on anybody, and you don't need to rely on any of these people. None of the up-and-coming music bands or acts that are out there need record companies anymore and don't use them. They can produce it themselves, and people that distribute their music virally, that's their marketing. That's how... I mean, it's the same as paying for marketing, having somebody distribute it. A viral video that everybody watches is so much more effective than a $10,000 marketing campaign. And that's what companies are like. Some companies are trying to get into that. They're trying to make their videos so that they do become viral. They're trying to tap into that. And it's just, like you said, it's just older people trying to keep things old. they're trying to keep the...
I've experienced a lot of that lately. We've always done it this way. This is the way it's supposed to be.
Yeah. Yeah, and I mean, it's something that will eventually go away as I hate to say it, but
as the generations progress.
As the generations progress. That's a perfect way to put it. Thank you very much.
I've been thinking about this a lot lately.
Yeah.
I work with quite a few people that are in their 60s, and up to this point, it's been, we've always done it this way, so we're going to keep doing it this way.
Yeah.
And I've just recently started stepping up and saying, it's not going to work this way anymore, guys. Sorry.
Yeah, and I mean, it's fine for some people to have that mindset, but to try and force people themselves, the progressive people, to stay in the old mindset, I just think is ridiculous. I mean, one thing that I applaud is like Hulu or the BBC iPlayer, the television stations that put their content out there. Of course, they still have ads. They're still making revenue on it, but they're following the trends of what people want. They want their content in a readily available format that they can access anywhere at any time. And that's something that the movie companies just aren't getting yet, and they're not wanting to get that. They can still survive. They can still survive probably just as well as they are now, but they're not wanting to accept that fate. They're wanting things to stay the way they always did. They want to all have private jets, essentially. I just think it's funny that they arrested, that they're putting everything on Kim.com just so they can maintain their lifestyle that is exactly like Kim.com's.
Yeah. Well, and it's just making an example, basically saying, look at this site. This was the 13th largest site on the internet at one point, according to blah, blah, blah. If we can take this down, you're next.
Yeah.
And it's just to scare those people that are doing the same sorts of things, or people that might be thinking of doing those things.
Yeah.
Stifle the innovation.
That is kind of a segue into the next topic, which is anonymous. And I just thought that I think that for as much of push that the government has, that the media companies have, I think the internet isn't helpless. They have anonymous that pushes back for the internet, that says you guys can't do this. It's kind of like a checks and balances type thing. But are they going too far sometimes? That's kind of the question that I have, and you guys in chat can chime in as well. That was a question.
I don't know that much about Anonymous in terms of their leadership or their structure, but I'd be willing to say that it's more like a mesh structure, or I don't know, maybe a governing board. There are maybe a set of fluctuating people that come in to help out, and then people that leave when they are ready to leave. And I don't know. Like I said, I don't know much about it other than what they've done and what what they're capable of.
It is. I don't think it's leaderless. I think there has to be some type of leader. I don't know if the leader is full time or not. Probably not. It's probably a bunch of different people that lead it in different sections, like a sect over in Britain, a sect in the U.S., a sect in India. But I think that it's good to have a checks and balances. The internet needs a voice, and I see Anonymous as their voice. But sometimes I just think that with what they're doing, they're trying to bully the government, which is what the government is trying to do to us. So essentially, they're adapting the same tactics that the government is using, and I don't necessarily know that I agree with that. Like, I think it's good to say, listen, we're here. Behave yourselves. We're not going to let you do anything stupid to us. But when they start pushing back so hard that it's essentially what the government is doing to us, I think that just leaves so much more room for conflict. And they used to be the Anonymous group used to be just a good way to keep people in check, just to remind them, hey, we're watching you. But when it goes past that, I don't know if I agree with that. What do you guys in chat say? Let's see what we got here.
Someone says, I think they do good regardless of the legality, but they're ripe for abuse. I think that's a pretty good way of looking at it. They do have good motives in most cases. I mean, taking down, like you said, taking down the CBS and the Universal Music sites, that was retaliatory, but at the same time, it made a point, I'm sure.
All right, let's. What time is it? It's 4:30. Do you want to talk about the RIM situation, Jordan? Did you get a chance to take a look at that?
Yeah, I read all about that.
So what do you think the future is of RIM and BlackBerry?
It's actually something I've been saying for a while now. I don't know if I've mentioned it or not, but I do own a BlackBerry playbook. Christmas time came around. It was a good price. I've got a playbook, and I've also got an Android tablet. But I'm a big fan of the playbook because of the OS. It's sort of Unix-based. It's based on QNX. The BBX, the BlackBerry 10 OS that's coming, is going to be based on that as well. And that's what they really need to get out there. They need to get the newer OS. They actually need to get competitive smartphones is what's coming down to. You get an OS that actually outperforms Android in every scenario I've put it up in. And you put it on something that's even more powerful or just as powerful as the existing devices, and it's going to be ridiculous when people see it. But like your link said, the must-do items, they need to be pulling developers in, and they need to be porting Android apps over. So once they've got that base, that foundation of you can have whatever app you want, there are going to be a lot of people that do flock over just because of the way that it does multitasking and the way that it utilizes the hardware.
What type of change do you think that they need to do then? Because the current CEO that stepped in says that there doesn't really need to be any changes, and it's one of the first times that a new CEO has stepped in and their stock actually dropped because their investors did not want to hear that. If they're going to have a future, do you think that they could do that without any huge changes?
Well, in the past, it seems they've mostly targeted the enterprise, and it's becoming more and more apparent that, especially with more contractors and more people working out of the home, that the enterprise is no longer an enterprise in most scenarios. You've got a lot of people that have their personal devices, their iPhones, their Android devices, or even BlackBerries that don't necessarily have to be all enterprise-oriented. You have to have something that you can get to your Gmail with, or you can get to your Yahoo Mail, or your Hotmail, or your blah, blah, blah. Sorry, the poop.
Yeah, it
just seems like they need to step up and notice that there is a consumer out there and not just an enterprise consumer.
That's what they're saying in chat as well, from what I'm reading, is that they need more apps developed for them. And yeah, I think they need more another type of integration. The thing with that kind of separates them from Apple and from the Google devices is that both of those devices have some type of cloud backing them up. Apple has the iCloud now, and the whole iTunes store and everything like that. And Google has, of course, the Android market and the whole Google Cloud services, Gmail and Docs and everything like that you can access. BlackBerry doesn't really have anything like that, so they're going to have to
like some people are saying, they're going to have the availability to use those Android apps with the new version that's coming out, which will mean that the phones will eventually be able to use them as well. The problem is going to be getting those apps into a method that the Playbook and the new BlackBerry devices can actually utilize. They are working on it. It's a matter of time. Another month, and we'll see some fun stuff, hopefully.
But the thing that I'm concerned about is does that give them a competitive advantage, though? Is the ease of use of their OS enough to give them a competitive advantage? Because, I mean, if BlackBerry has, Gmail apps and Android apps, why not just get an Android and use those apps? From what I hear, the ease of use is amazing, but is that enough to give them a competitive advantage, I guess is what I'm trying to say.
I will say, I was 100% Android whenever I got my Android device and when I got my tablet, and then I got my hands on the Playbook, and the way that the OS works, the way it handles multitasking, and the way that it just configuration and it's just style and everything. It all sort of flows together very nicely.
Right.
If you added Android on top of that and didn't add all of the Java bloat that Android comes with by default, you could definitely be a competitor, simply because, like you said, it would have Android on top of the BlackBerry stuff, which would mean it would have the BlackBerry stuff as well. Not that there's a huge amount of BlackBerry Playbook apps out there at the moment, but there are more and more coming every day. I mean, there are some apps on the Playbook that you can't get on other devices simply because they haven't been developed for them. I think there's actually a game I bought recently called Tofu that's just one of those simple little puzzle games, but it's highly addictive, it's very pretty, and it flows very nicely on this same hardware that I've got in my tablet, my Android tablet, that it wouldn't play very well on the Android tablet if it existed there.
So it may be enough then. I haven't actually used one, but I would be interested in having something that embodies all the stuff that the Android does, but that's easier to use. I haven't used Android Ice Cream Sandwich yet. I don't know if you have or not, but currently I'm not that much a fan of the current. Oh, is that it?
Kind of. It's this is the Droid X, and it's running MIUI. I don't think it's a final version of anything yet, but I've been running it for 2 or 3 weeks now, and it's okay. I'm waiting for a CyanogenMod at this point, just because there are some quirky things about I don't know how you pronounce it, MIUI, M-I-U-I. It's a Chinese ROM. But, hey. I saw somebody in the chat asked if you bring Android apps to BlackBerry, how are you going to avoid the Java bloat because they're Java apps? The way that I'd see it is you've got the BlackBerry backend with a specific Android player, so it's all contained to that player. It's got its own little wrapper. So if it does decide to take up more resources than it's allowed, it'll either kill itself or move along. I mean, it should all be segmented little groups of bloat that will go away.
Sorry, I'm gonna have to.
There's a spammer. Okay. Awesome.
Yeah, gonna have to lay down the ban hammer.
No, I don't know if you remember, but I used to do the live streams, and that was pretty regular in mine.
Yeah, I know.
I actually got 4chan bombed one day. That was pretty fun.
Ooh, wow.
Lots of people coming in saying, "Do you use Gentoo?" It's like, yes, I've used Gentoo. I don't use it now because I just don't.
All right. So I know, Jordan, you got to go pretty soon here. So what I wanted to do, this is also a new segment, is I'm going to be doing a video of the week and a game of the week. And if you have any suggestions, I do have a couple sections in my forum where you can leave your favorite videos or your favorite games. The first video that I wanted to show you is kind of recent. It's called Prime versus Prime. And what makes it really cool, let me find, there it is.
Prime versus
I don't know if you guys can hear it or not.
Prime.
But essentially this is a very, very good use of
This is the best Prime.
interactivity on YouTube.
It's up to you to decide. Select the winner.
Yeah, I'll post a link to it for you guys in chat. But essentially, I mean, it's kind of silly. You get to choose who you think is the best Optimus, but I think it's a fantastic use of interactivity and stop motion, for that matter. What do you think, Jordan? Is this stop motion or computer graphics, the animations?
It looks like stop motion in terms of the graphics at first look, but I'd almost be willing to bet that some part of it is computer generated.
The fluidity is I've never seen that in stop motion before.
Yeah.
But you can
Well,
select
the
who you think
fluidity
it will be.
combined with the camera movements, but I mean that could just
Yeah.
be editing there.
Yeah, it could be.
Anyway.
After Effects and stop motion. But you guys can check that out. What you do is you essentially choose who you think will be the winner. I kind of like the old Optimus better than the new one, and they fight. And you can choose.
Let the fight begin.
You can choose how they kill each other, kind of like in Mortal Kombat, I believe is what it is. But for a static YouTube video, it's kind of fun. Alright, it's taking too long to load, so you guys have the link. That is the video for the week. If you have some suggestions for that, again, leave them in the forum. But the next thing that I have is the game of the week. Now, these are Flash games. These aren't downloadable games because I had to put some type of limitation on them. And did you get a chance to play this by chance, Jordan?
Yeah, I did very briefly.
Oh man, it's
Interesting.
I
It
find
kind of reminds me of.
interesting.
I can't remember the name of the game. There's several of them that are like that, where you are kind of
Left
running
4
around
Dead.
killing hordes and hordes. Left 4 Dead, but 2D, or almost 2D.
2D Left 4 Dead. Oh, that'll be the game for next week. So there's the link. So I used to play this when I was at Dell, and it was so bad because I would get addicted to it, and I would just be talking to people on chat, doing support and playing this on the other screen. But yeah, I compare it to a very 2D version of Left 4 Dead. You're being chased by zombies, and this is part of the Boxhead series, which is a huge series. And you shoot the zombies, and the more you kill them, the more stuff you get. And you can leave barrels, they give you shotguns, and it's kind of amazing for a little Flash game. That's my goal, is to create a Flash game like that, and just retire.
One that's prolific, yeah.
One that's prolific, exactly, like Mario. Now that's kind of amazing. The whole that's so. This is why I got into programming and things like that, is because you can start out with literally nothing. Obviously, you have to have a computer, but it doesn't have to be yours. And as long as you have a really good idea and know how to program it, or
Know how to read and understand instructions.
that too, then you can make something and then just retire off of it. The overhead cost, unlike most businesses, is zero. It's like spinning yarn into gold, literally. Very very little overhead cost, but the returns are huge. Jordan, let's make a game, and then we'll retire off.
Okay.
You got any good ideas? I'm thinking something with pickles. I don't know about you. Just kidding. All right, so why don't you...
Actually,
people where they can-
random off topic there. That does bring to mind a game that is in development, but it's an Angry Birds clone essentially. There's a guy on YouTube named Metal X1000 who's making a game called Pissed Off Penguins. I don't know if I'm allowed to say that.
Uh-oh, spoiler alert.
Oh.
Have you guys, everybody in chat and you, Jordan, have you heard or seen the demo of Mario Portal? It's like Mario and Luigi, but with portal guns, so that it's pretty amazing. Let me see if I can pull it up here. It's called Mari and then a big O or a 0 for Portal. Let me see if I can find it. Because they have some really cool demo videos. Yeah, here's a demo video. I'll send the link through chat. But there's a test of it, and essentially it can be single player or dual player. He hasn't released it yet, which makes me think that it may be fake, but you can essentially use a portal gun in the normal Mario. And I think it's pretty amazing.
Oh,
the
that's
concept's cool. The dual version with Luigi's even better, but that's I really like that. All right, not to keep you any longer, Jordan. Go ahead and tell everybody where they can find you, and just promote the crap out of yourself, man.
Sure.
You deserve it.
Well, I do occasionally make videos over on thisweekinlinux.com. I did start out on YouTube at youtube.com/thisweekinlinux, but some things happened with my Google partnership. For some reason, they closed my AdSense account, so I'm still making videos there, just kind of for the community. And the thisweekinlinux.com is where, if anything, I can actually earn this much revenue. So thisweekinlinux.com. Lately, I've been doing a lot of Android device reviews, but I'm looking to get back into tutorials and screencasts and distribution reviews and anything specifically Linux related. But we may branch out a little bit here and there. I might start talking a little bit about the BlackBerry OS because it's Unix related, kind of.
It works. It fits under the umbrella.
It's a Star Nix.